Welcome back to our third installment of Let's Play ArcGIS 10.2. Hey, last week you might remember that we were working on testing out the geoprocessing capabilities of ArcGIS 10.2 to see if we could put it to use across all the cores of the processor that I had on my workstation. And I had a 8-core workstation, and yeah, it looked like I managed to put those things all to work, but I didn't get anywhere near 100% CPU usage, or even 80 or 90%. So I promised you that I would finish that processing and give you the update of those results during this next session, which is now. I also promised you that I would run the exact same analysis on a 10.1 ArcGIS 10.1 machine and give you a comparison. So that is what I have done, and that's what you're looking at right here. So what we have here is, well, I ran this on not an identical workstation, but this is a 2-core workstation. It doesn't have as much RAM either, but I did manage on ArcGIS 10.1 to get it to max out the CPU at 100% right up here, and from this point on forward for the remainder of the processing, I got it redlined out here to darn near 100% the entire time. The entire time being 25 minutes and 36 seconds with ArcGIS 10.1. That process that we were running last week that you looked at with ArcGIS 10.2, that big union process, give me everything from those two layers, put them together, ended up taking 21 minutes and 7 seconds. A little bit faster machine, sure. I had more cores. They never maxed out to 100% though. But nonetheless, let's say that I had a little bit of an advantage on my research workstation that ran 10.2. But we're seeing a 20% improvement in processing time, and I will attribute at least part of that to improved geoprocessing capabilities of ArcGIS 10.2. Some of it just to the we'll have to attribute to the computer itself. So, wanted to give you that update and make good on my promise to you. The rest of the stuff that I wanted to work on today with you is ArcCatalog 10.2. There we are. This is 10.2 again for desktop. And one of the other improvements that I've heard about 10.2 is some improved geodatabase capabilities and the fact that once you develop a schema, a database design, and have implemented it, that it's easier to go back and make some changes to it. One of the things that have really, I guess, been kind of problematic for me is, sometimes we'll create, in this case, a point feature class inside of my geodatabase, and I'll look at the properties of it, and I will come to the conclusion that this certain field shouldn't be a short integer. No, it should be a long integer, or I don't like the name of it. Now, in earlier versions of Arc, I could change the name of an existing attribute, so I can do it right here. I can click on this. I say, no, it should be sample ID without an underscore in it. And then if I apply this, we'll go ahead and we'll get this error. It says, alter field name failed, which is interesting because this worked on 10.1. I see. So the reason why, okay, so it's not going to cascade my changes. This field is used as a relationship key. So if that's the case, it won't make that change for me. All right. Let's see, what other field might I be able to change? How about, well, let's change this X field. Maybe I determine that the accuracy of my point locations can't support any form of decimal places, and so why should I store this as a double? Let me store it as a long. So let's see if we can make that change, and maybe we also want to make a change here to the name of it. So let me see. First of all, I will change this to X coord. I'll click apply, and that took. Okay, no error messages. It's just fine. I could do the same thing with the Y coordinate and apply it. That's cool. So if the field, the attribute, is not being used in some other way, as this one was here, sample ID was being used in a relationship class, so it wouldn't cascade that change for me into the relationship class itself. So okay, it can't do that, but we can flat out change names of more or less your basic standard majority of attributes. Cool. But that we could do that in earlier versions, 10.0 and 10.1. Let's say I want to change this to a long integer. Let's see if it'll let me. And it has. Very good. Can I do it twice? Push my luck here a little bit. I should be able to. Certainly. I've changed that. So that is really cool. But I'll show you something here. When I preview this, look at the table, notice that I have no point features in here, and I have, of course, no records. Let's try this again with a feature class or a standalone table or something like that that already has data in it. So here we're looking at the land capability classes attribute table. You can see we have quite a number. We have 32 records inside this thing. Can I make some of these same changes? Let's change this descriptio into description. So this thing came across from a shapefile and got its name concatenated. Let's fix it now that we have it inside of a geodatabase, or its name was truncated, I should say. So let's go down here to properties. We have description. I'll click on, there we go. I now have it typed out like I like it. I even want to change the alias right down here. I'll click apply. And it says failed to alter the name of the field. Let's see what's happening here. It says that this thing was created, this geodatabase was created with an older version. Let's find out about that. Properties of this geodatabase. This geodatabase can be upgraded. Hey, let's do that. And what it's asking for here, hey, there we go. There's our ActiveX still complaining. We have to have a new name applied to it here. So it looks like it's going to make, well, see here, to be upgraded. That's just fine. That's the one I want to work on. See if it'll do it. It's not a valid geodatabase. Uh-oh, we're in trouble here today. And it could be that I've got this thing in use right over here, which is really bizarre. I don't know if that's the case or not. Okay, it's not going to do it. There's more than one way to fix this, though, just to do our little test that we want to do. Let's take this. I'm going to create a new file geodatabase. I'm going to call it land capability class. Just abbreviated it, though. And this is one thing really cool about the geodatabase. Once I'm working in the world of the geodatabase, I can take something from one geodatabase, just drag and drop it onto another. Well, that normally works, but I am striking out today. Let's go ahead and do it the slow way. Output location. Yep, ActiveX doesn't like that. And we're going to go up to this little working location. I'm going to tell it to write it to this brand new LCC. I'm just going to call it table. And you know, I can make the change right over here as well. I can take this thing. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but we can go to the properties of this, and right here during the import I can change it. However I like. Notice that the length of this thing is 254 characters. That is huge. I don't know if any one of our records really needs that much space, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. We'll click OK. And as part of this same process, I'm going to take this. I'm going to delete this field, and I'm going to delete this one. Because, hey, this is a standalone attribute table. We've kind of shaken loose from all of the topology that stuff had referred to. Now I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So what's happening is this old, obsolete, I guess, personal geodatabase was created before ArcGIS 10 is now being converted to this new geodatabase table. It's a file geodatabase. I'm going into it here. It hasn't finished its work. Oh yes, it has. It finished its job here. And again, you can remember that we can watch that result. It didn't like something. Yeah, it did not do it. It created the schema, but it did not bring across the data with it. So there's something really bad, funky about this geodatabase. Let's take another. Here we have a geodatabase that I used in a workshop or an exercise for classes, and I've called it the PGDB. It's a personal geodatabase. And it has a featured data set inside of it called city data, and it has a buildings polygon feature class inside of it that happen to be the quite a few of the buildings, most of the buildings around Idaho State University. And if we look at this, there we go, we have existing data also in the attribute table. So let's see if we can make some changes to the structure, the name, data type of a table in an existing geodatabase that has data already inside of it. See if it'll support that. So I'm going to go over here again, feature class properties, go to the fields, and what do I want to change? Well, this one here, camp status. Well, we're not camping, it's perhaps campus status. Let's see if we can do that. Campus status. That sounds good. And I'm clicking apply. And it says, hey, it can't do it for some reason. I don't know. I've seen this error before, and then when I've gone back, I found out it did it. It looks like it did it here. Alias didn't change. It didn't tell it to change, though. I'll click close. I'm going to come back here, open up the properties again. Yeah, campus status did change. It's now it's no longer camp status. It's now campus status. So that's cool. Did it really lose all my stuff? Nah, not at all. It just didn't refresh. So that's just fine. Now let's see if we can make a change to the data type for one of these fields that we'd have the ability to make that change to. Let's see. There we go, building number. You know, building number probably shouldn't be a double. I'm almost certain that those are integers that are being used. and probably not even very large numbers. There we go, 52, 77. We could easily make this into a short integer. So let's do that. Short integer, apply it. Now it says unable to alter the field's type. The table or feature class is not empty. So it looks like once we put data into this thing, and we do, we have 80 records populated all the way out. We have polygons in it, 80 polygons as well. So once you have data in it, you can no longer change the data type for attributes. If you simply have a schema that exists, you can make changes, but once you get even a single record in there, those sorts of changes are no longer possible. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. We can make some changes to geodatabases that we may be designing without having to delete an old one, recreate one, recreate another one, and so on and so forth. So that's good. There's some good changes to it. I think one thing we learned today here is taking an old geodatabase, and this one's not too old. It's just older than 10.0. And trying to convert it into a 10.2 is getting a little bit tricky. Don't know what happened here exactly, other than it won't do it. I suppose we could put this thing out, export it out to a shapefile, export it out to a DBF, or hey, like I said, we could export this thing out to an Excel. Remember we did that a week or two ago, and then I'm sure we could bring it back in. It's kind of a roundabout way, but it works, gets it done. So there we have it. That's our little ArcGIS 10.2 Let's Play for this week, and we'll see if we can do something in another coming week that might also be fun. If you've got some ideas, some questions, hey, you can email it over to me, and we'll see if we can give this thing a test. Bye-bye.